I believe Iraq has revalued in country and budget, etc. past. We're just waiting for our turn, it's coming. Marx, I believe it has as well. Maybe that is why some of my best Iraqi contacts are not saying anything, but they suddenly have dollars. Sadoni gave a big speech and he talked about how very serious his government is about increasing the citizens' purchasing power. He said Iraq has reached a historical time for financial increase. He talked about how stable we are. Frank, now that he has told you again for the 9th time, allow me to say this to you, start your countdown. Why will Iraq become one of Trump's priorities in the coming period? Urgent quote: Trump is planning major changes in the Middle East region, and therefore the region is entering a new phase, and Iraq will be at the forefront of these changes in terms of the security and economic reality. UN mission: Iraq has proven to the world that it is capable of overcoming challenges and building the future. We sure hope it's this weekend. Things have sure gotten interesting. I got some reports from contacts in Iraq that they now have a lot more money than they used to have, but they won't say how or why, just that they have a lot more money than they had. They had told me they had expected to exchange sometime around Victory Day on December 10th. But they will not tell me where their sudden wealth has come from. I think things have started at the upper levels in Iraq. I am pretty excited. No, it's not going to jump to floating right away. That's not going to happen. They can't afford for the currency to crash. They can't afford for the economy to crash. It doesn't mean they're not going to get to a floating one sooner or later, but not right away. Those guys from the CBI say we don't need those auctions, they're bad. It's going to allow us to be able to control the market and remove the black market. Frank, you have security and stability. So many things converging is phenomenal. I think this is a time where that if you're not involved, and if you're just sitting on the sidelines and paying attention from afar, it's time to come on in, check it out, see what's happening. I am under NDA, so I cannot talk about specific platforms. What I can tell is that we are ready. We are ready, and Reno has been given the green light. This is official from what I have been told. This is from a person at the Redemption Center. Things are ready to roll, just get ready. Some people say banks are closed on Saturday and Sunday, but it does not matter, it goes through the QFS and it can go any day, banks open or not. QFS is open 24/7. It can be done on any day. This is it. It could happen today. We are going to have a Merry Christmas, an unannounced visit, and a surprise landing in Baghdad. Blinken to al-Sudani, we are committed to supporting Iraq. Quote, Blinken referred to the pivotal role of Iraq, and stressed that it represents a key partner in the region, and the importance of consulting with it on the current developments witnessed in the region, and that the members of the international coalition are committed to the security, sovereignty and stability of Iraq. CBI on TV talking about the dollar auctions are bad, but as of today the CBI has started new mechanism for money transfers. Frank, this is monetary reform education, boom, 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 boom. With all the lies out there, the whole team is coming out and telling you Iraqi citizens, relax. Firefly, the salaries of October, November and December will be paid to the Kurds as soon as possible. Then they talked about a 15-day period that started on November the 28th in which the dollar auctions will end. That put the date as this Sunday the 15th. Central bank governor opening foreign channels to foreign currencies eliminates the black market. They are talking about partnering with neighboring countries and carry more of a basket of currencies so they do not need the US dollar for trade, including Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and different countries around them. They want to split the value of the Iraqi dinar based on gold, oil, reserves and a basket of partnering currencies. This should mean a much higher value for the Iraqi dinar. They are making real-world moves to support the value of their currency. Abdul Rahman al-Jazairi, a leader in the National Division Movement, which is part of the State of Law Coalition, stated today, Saturday, that there is a real political fear of a military coup in Iraq, after the overthrow of Bashar al-Assad's regime in Syria by the armed opposition factions. Al-Jazari told Shafaq news agency, military coups in Iraq are possible, and the coordination framework and the Iraqi government have a sense of the seriousness of this matter, and there is fear and the situation is unbearable in Iraq and the region. He added, there are different political problems in Iraq between the components, and this disagreement may be a motive for raising any problem in the next stage. Al-Jazari added, we expect that the next stage will witness real political reforms by the coordination framework and the entire ruling state administration coalition. After the fall of the Assad regime, Iraq fears the return of the scenario of mid-2014, when ISIS was able to control areas estimated at a third of the country, against the backdrop of the extension of the conflict in Syria between the regime and the opposition factions in the past years. The Iraqi forces reinforced their forces on the border strip with Syria after the Syrian army led by the Assad regime retreated in the face of the armed groups until they were able to topple the regime within a few days. While Syria is witnessing major transformations that the whole world is waiting for, these transformations have opened the door to hopes for economic transformations as well, after the Syrian economy deteriorated greatly during the previous years under the rule of Bashar al-Assad due to sanctions. The Syrian pound has undergone major transformations. At the beginning of 2021, it is equivalent to 3,000 Syrian pounds, and in 2022 the price increased to 4,000 liras, then it reached 8,000 liras in 2023 and even 13,000 liras in mid-2023. And with the continuation of economic sanctions and the collapse of many sectors, it rose at the beginning of 2024, it reached 15,000 liras. Then with the start of the battles by the armed factions at the end of November and the successive fall of Syrian cities by their hands, the collapse reached 19,000 liras per dollar, then after the fall of the regime, it reached 22,000 liras per dollar. But with the start of reassurances about the situation and monitoring the possibility of involvement countries global with the help of Syria to establish nation new, the price of the lira returned to 16,000 liras per dollar, with expectations that the lira will improve against dollar with the formation of a new government and a new regime engaged with the regime global. From here, it seems that there are many investors, whether in Syria or even in countries the surrounding Arab countries, especially Iraq, have tried to invest in the Syrian pound, by purchasing large quantities of it. Now while it is collapsing, where 16,000 liras can be bought for every dollar, and waiting for its prices to rise with the improvement of the situation in Syria. For example, if about 1.6 million liras are bought for only $100, then the return of the lira price to its price in 2021 only, for example, which is 3,000 liras per dollar, then selling the 1.6 million liras will be at a price of more than $500, which means a profit margin of 400%.